Hey everyone, it's Kate Hornay here from BeyondFit Life. I am so excited for our chat tonight. It looks like we have a full call with lots of awesome ladies on the call. Again, I want to welcome some of our new girlfriends who were invited by their friends, members of the Beyond Fit Life Club. So the majority of the women on the call are Beyond Fit Life members, and you guys know the drill. This is our monthly coaching call. I save lots of time for Q&A. So make sure you get your questions ready because we will have plenty of time to chat and to make sure that you're all set for the month of September. September in the Beyond Fit Life Club is Spark Your Metabolism Month. So I'm really excited about this month's challenge. Our workouts, if you did your workout yesterday, oh my goodness, were you dripping sweat or what? I was dying. So it was great, right? And our nutrition is going to be great. And we have lots of great tips tonight that I'm going to talk about to just help you this month to focus on burning more fat and really boosting your metabolism. So I'll tell you a little bit about why I chose to make this our challenge for September. My thought with this is that we really want to make sure that we have all the pieces in place to increase our metabolisms and make sure that our metabolisms are running at top speed now before we head into the holiday months. So I don't know about you guys, but the holidays for me are tough nutritionally, and socially they're really busy, right? So sometimes we don't get all of the workouts in like we plan on our schedule, and we're tempted by Christmas cookies, Christmas treats, all those holiday parties. So making sure that our metabolism is working well now will help us in the next coming months to really make sure that we fight the holiday weight, which I can't believe it's September. I don't know about you guys, but do you feel like the summer just flew by? Yeah, I cannot believe it. So, those of you who aren't in the Beyond Fit Life Club but are listening in, we're really excited that you're here. I told you that I'm Kate Hornay, and I am the coach here at Beyond Fit Life. So I'm also sick right now, which you may be able to hear in my voice, but I didn't want to cancel our call. So please pardon any coughing or sneezing. I think I'm kind of towards the end. But man, being sick with this like summer cold upper respiratory thing, and I only have like 2 weeks until baby number two's due date. So I can't take any medication. I'm just like, oh, I just have to get through it. So I apologize in advance if you hear any sniffling. But I'm really excited for our call tonight. I want to make sure that everybody's all set. It looks like the room has filled up, and everybody should be set with everything you need on your sidebar. So just go over to that sidebar really quick and find the chat box if you haven't already, and make sure that you see how to chat. So you can chat with me, and you can post questions, and you can also chat with your Beyond Fit Life sister. So go ahead and say hey in that chat box. Just let us know that you're here. Hey, awesome. Hey. Good. So go ahead. Yes, if you haven't already, find that chat box. Make sure that you know how this works, okay? Because that's going to be really important. And I want to make sure that you are able to chat and to ask any questions that you need to. Fantastic. Okay, so tonight is going to be a really jam-packed with lots and lots of info. I guess I just want to kick off by saying, are you looking for ways to boost your metabolism? Find that chat box and tell me yes if you have ever heard the cliche boost your metabolism, right? And then you're like, but how? You want to understand, like, how do you actually boost your metabolism? I personally get so sick of all of the like boost your metabolism kind of fitness gimmicks. And I want you to understand right away that this is not one of those. Okay, so I'm not going to try to sell you like a crazy pill or a really expensive supplement. In fact, everything that I'm going to talk about tonight can be done without purchasing any shake, pill, magic, metabolic boosting ab belt or whatever is like the latest and greatest kind of gimmick. Okay, so this is real life, this is science, and I want to start off with that because I hesitate talking about the metabolism because it's sort of overdone, right? It's on all the covers of fitness magazines. It's all the stuff you read on Facebook is like, use this magic wrap around your stomach and it'll burn fat and boost your metabolism. Like, what? So tonight we're going to talk about ways to jumpstart your fat loss, and we're going to talk about how you can boost your metabolism so that you can keep your fat loss moving forward. And I think that's really the main goal here is like, how do we really in real life make this happen? So here's what you're going to learn tonight. What are people who are getting results doing differently? I'm always looking to see, what is the normal population doing and how can we do things differently and actually get some results, right? Because most women that you meet, they're kind of struggling. They're yo-yo dieting, right? They're miserable on their diet. Then they're binging off their diet. They fall off the wagon, then they get back on track, and then they do it again. And it's just frustrating. And, they're damaging their metabolism sometimes without even knowing it. So what are people who are getting results doing differently? I'm also going to share tonight 5 insider tips that you can start applying today. And today is the key word here because our month of September, our challenge has started. And we are going to see some amazing results with our nutrition guide and the workouts. So ladies, if you have not already gone into that members portal and downloaded your workouts for the month and also your nutrition guide, and we have new recipes up as well, I want you to download those because we have started. Okay, so the challenge tracker is up there. You can download, you can see the prizes that you can win, and everybody who completes it gets a BeyondFit Dry Fit Trainers tee, which are awesome, and I love them. I basically live in mine. So everybody who participates gets that, which is fun. But I'm going to share those tips with you tonight, and I'm also going to help you kind of create your own easy guide that's going to help you burn more fat and boost your metabolism for life. Again, keyword here, life, okay? We are BeyondFit Life. We're not BeyondFit 12 weeks. We're not BeyondFit 21 days, right? We're not BeyondFit yo-yo on and off again. This is a lifestyle. And so this stuff works for life. It's not a crash diet. And quite frankly, anything other than something that works for life, I think is silly to even try at. I want something that is going to last me, from here on out, not something that I have to start and stop and struggle with that way. So that's what you have to look forward to on the call. Again, make sure you're using that chat box. Connect with all your sisters. Post any questions that you have, and make sure that you take advantage of that because this is like my favorite part of our monthly chat is just getting to interact with everybody and for you guys to get to interact together too. So make sure you take advantage of that, please. Okay, so I've shown you this picture before and I hate showing it, but I just want to bring it up really quickly as an example and a reminder. This stuff works, okay? This is my experience. Boosting my metabolism, burning fat, applying these principles that I'm going to share with you tonight. It makes a change, okay? So you can see that difference on the screen. And the crazy, it blows my mind. The crazy thing about it is the before picture, I was doing so much exercise. I was living at the gym. I was seriously barely eating anything but like chicken and broccoli. I'm not exaggerating. I was like so strict on my nutrition, it was ridiculous. And that's how I looked. Then I figured out this stuff. Okay, I looked at the science. I figured out what works. I eat so much more now. I mean, Patrick, like I could really take him on in an eating challenge. I eat like crazy, right? Lots of good food. I barely spend any time in the gym. In fact, I haven't had a gym membership since Jackson was born, which is almost 2 years. So I do all my BeyondFit Life workouts at home, in our garage, or in the living room while Jackson's sleeping in the morning or napping or whatever. And you know, it's quick, it's efficient, and it's amazing. It works. So trust me on this when I tell you it really does work, and you are going to see some great results with our workouts and our nutrition and with these tips this month. So I put this up because I just thought it was funny. No more fat loss plateaus, okay? If you agree that the yo-yo dieting is really annoying, and if weight loss or fat loss plateaus just drive you nuts, I want you to like let me know. Yeah, type in that chat box like, it's so aggravating, it's so frustrating. If you have experienced this plateau where you're making progress, and then all of a sudden it just stops and you're like, wait a second, I haven't changed anything. I'm still doing the same workouts I was doing. I'm still eating like how I was eating. Why now am I no longer making progress? Type me in the chat and tell me, yeah, that's me. I have experienced that at some point or another. I would guess that probably 90% of us on the call can relate to this. I know I could in the past, right? I'm just like, I'm stuck and I don't know what to do. So committing and taking action is going to be the key here. And I want everybody tonight to commit to taking action, okay? So if you can relate to this frustrating plateau stuff, I want you to commit tonight to putting these tips into practice. So tonight we're going to talk about what you should eat, how you should train, and we're also going to talk a little bit about some metabolic hormones. Specifically tonight we're going to talk about our thyroid hormones. So we have lots of great information on the call tonight, and it's really important that you understand that it's not just one of these kind of pieces to the puzzle, okay? So much goes into our metabolism that we have to focus on our exercise, of course. We have to focus on our nutrition, and we also have to make sure that those hormones are balanced. So we have to make sure that we're kind of addressing all of these aspects. So we'll find tips from each one of these categories, okay? So if you're taking notes, you can start with tip number 1, which is simply to eat protein. Now, I say simply because, you know, it sounds easy, right? Just eat more protein. But for some reason, this is an area that many women struggle with. Most of the women that come to me for one-on-one nutrition coaching, when we start, they give me a 3-day food log. And I'm always amazed at how far under the protein intake requirements they are. They're just not eating enough protein. So let me tell you a little bit about protein here. Protein is one of 2 essential macronutrients, okay? So we have 2 essential macronutrients. Fat is the other, and protein is the one that we're going to talk about here. It is found in all the cells of the human body, especially muscle, okay? Now here's the thing. Guidelines suggest that you intake 0.8 grams per kilogram of your body weight. But here's the problem with that. This number is set for sedentary individuals, and it does not take into account the energy demands for people that work out. okay? So we need to up our protein even more than kind of what the guidelines suggest typically, because we're not sedentary, right? We're out there, we're killing our BeyondFit workouts, we're working hard, we're sprinting, we're lifting weights. So since exercise breaks down muscle tissue, and muscle tissue is protein, right? And you need protein to build new tissue, that's our muscle, you want to make sure you're maintaining a positive nitrogen balance, and that is done through making sure that you get enough protein. Okay, so it's very, very important. If you are taking notes, I want you to make some notes and write down that you really need to be getting 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of lean body weight. That's our goal for September with our protein intake, okay? So the bonus here about all this protein is that it's very thermogenic, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But I just want to make a note when you're writing down about your protein intake. Your need for protein, it may be more or less depending on your activity level and what the rest of your diet looks like. So for example, carbohydrates are very protein sparing. So if you eat a high amount of them, you won't need as much protein, okay? Like I said, also, protein is very thermogenic. So it's gonna vary. Individuals are gonna have different levels and different needs, but 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight is what we recommend. Now, what does thermogenic mean? That means that it requires up to 25% or more of its calories just to be digested. So that is amazing for increasing your metabolism, for getting your body to burn more fat, okay? So it's awesome, awesome, awesome. Protein, protein, protein. It's the way to go. And I can't stress enough to really, really please, please, please make sure that you're getting enough protein. Does anybody have questions on that? If you have questions, you can type those in the chat box and we'll try to get to them as we can tonight. But we have so much that we want to talk about, okay? So let's move on to number 2. Tip number 1 was to drink protein. Tip number 2 is tip number 1 was to eat protein. Tip number 2 is to drink water. So if you're taking notes, I want you to write drink water as tip number 2. Now, the interesting thing about water is, again, that it's just something, it's so easy, right? I mean, drinking more water, that's not expensive, right? You don't need a special shake. You don't need any magic pills. It's just drinking some water. But it really plays a big role in boosting your metabolism. So another way to boost your metabolism, in addition to the protein, is to drink more water. Now, I'm not talking about, and I'll just say this, the gimmicky cold water drinking school of thought, okay? So people are like, if you drink colder water, you'll burn more fat because, I don't even remember what they try to claim. But no, it's not gimmicky. It's just water, okay? I'm talking about water and its effects on our metabolism in the fullest sense. Water is amazing because it makes up 70% of your body, and it seriously is involved in every single chemical reaction within our cells. So I cannot say enough how important and how awesome water is. There are so many benefits to drinking water, and I get asked quite a bit, like, well, why is water so important, right? Why do you always preach, like, we need to drink our water, we need to drink our water? Why is water so important for fat loss? Well, first, let's take a look at the role it plays in our body. So you see on the screen, water makes up close to 70% of our body, and our organs contain an even higher percentage of water. So just for example, the liver is comprised of nearly 95% water. Your liver is 95% water. I mean, that's awesome. That's a lot of water, right? So we want, obviously, we really want to make sure that we have enough water for our bodies to function. Water shuttles nutrients throughout our body, and it helps rid our body of toxins, which is amazing, right? And it helps to assimilate water-soluble vitamins. It even helps to regulate our body temperature. A couple of other things, if you're taking notes: water lubricates our joints. It helps with digestion. It promotes healthy skin, which what woman on the call doesn't want healthier looking skin, right? You don't have to buy a special miracle cream. Just start drinking more water. But there are so many benefits to drinking water on this list. It literally plays a role in every chemical reaction with our cell, within our cells. So another really cool benefit of water: drinking water reduces water retention. So this is really interesting. If you're looking to kind of like de-bloat, right? When your body doesn't get enough water, it holds on to what it has. So water retention is a result of actually not getting enough water. And it's really cool because it's actually a simple survival mechanism. Your body has a tendency to hold on and to store what it doesn't think it will get in the future. So this is another reason why really low-calorie diets or crash diets, they don't work, right? Because you're not feeding your body enough, and then it's going to store what it doesn't think it's going to get in the future. So once you start drinking more water, your body recognizes that it's getting a steady external supply, and it starts letting go of the water weight it's been holding. It's so cool how this works. So that water retention that might be around your waist, right, or your face, or maybe even your ankles, it's released because there's no longer a reason for your body to store it. Water also makes you a more efficient fat burner, which I love because we are all looking to be more efficient at burning fat. I don't know if you remember, but I said your liver is nearly 95% water. I can't emphasize enough how important your liver is to your body. So the liver breaks down toxins and it removes them from your body, okay? Another thing that's so cool about the liver is that it actually stores fat-soluble vitamins. And most importantly, okay, it has a big role in carbohydrate, protein, and fat metabolism. So your liver is actually responsible for breaking down fatty acids and for transporting them to the blood to be metabolized. So what does water have to do with the liver? Well, aside from being like your liver's 95% water, right? The liver is so important for fat oxidation that it's absolutely imperative that we're keeping it running at 100% efficiency. And when you don't drink enough water, your kidneys as well are your kidneys are responsible for removing toxins and waste material, and they can't fully function either. So we talked about the liver, right? And it's 95% water. We need that water in our liver for it to run at 100% efficiency. And if our kidneys aren't removing toxins and waste material as well, your liver has to pick up the slack. So if your liver has to work twice as hard to remove those toxins, fat metabolism is not going to be able to function 100% efficiently. Does that make sense? You guys have water questions? I saw some of your protein questions come in. So Kim and Chrissy, I'm seeing those questions, and I promise we will get to them, okay? Don't worry. If you have water questions, post those as well, and I'll make sure that we save lots of time for all the questions. So how much water should you drink to lose weight? Make sure you're drinking enough water to support your fat loss goals. Aim for half your body weight in ounces. That's a great starting point. If it makes it easier, you can fill up a gallon water jug and just try to make sure it's gone by the end of the day, right? It seems like a lot, but that's really only like 8 16-ounce glasses. And it's really hard to go over on water. So you're going to be spending a lot of time in the bathroom. But that's okay, right? Make sure you're trying to get half your body weight in ounces. Another kind of trick, if you drink a glass at each of your 5 meals, if you're kind of having 3 main meals and a couple snacks, then you only have a few left to go. You could probably knock those out during your workout. I like to use a water bottle to sip on throughout the day. And one thing to note is you may not be thirsty at first, but as your body starts to let go of the water that it's been holding on to, you'll notice that you're more thirsty more often. And of course, another tip, you can add lemon or lime or an orange slice if you'd like to add some flavor. Just make sure you're drinking enough of the plain water, okay? So that is the most important liquid in the world, even more important than coffee, which you guys know I love my coffee, but you have to get that plain water in. Okay, so let's take a pause. Let's everybody go fill up your water if you need to. I have my glass right next to me. Stretch out, do whatever, and let's answer some of the questions before we move on to tip number 3. So let me head on over here to the sidebar. Let's see. How do I figure out my lean body weight? Great question, Chrissy. So the best way to figure out your lean body weight is to do some type of body fat calculation. Body fat scales, they're not typically super accurate, but it will give you kind of a starting point. So they have bioelectric impedance scales that you could even get, at Target or whatever, where you just step on and it's going to estimate how much of your body is fat versus muscle. I test all of our boot camp local BeyondFit sisters. We have a handheld bioelectric impedance monitor that actually tells you kind of what your lean body weight is versus your muscle. But if you don't have access to a way to test your body composition, the monitor or some personal trainers will do caliper testing, then you could get one of those scales and just kind of estimate. It doesn't have to be, like exactly 100% accurate, but you do need to have an idea of what your lean body weight is, and then you need to make sure that you are eating enough protein for that body weight, okay? So we're not really concerned with how much fat you have, which is why we're focusing on the lean body weight, because that's the part of you that is the muscle and the active tissue, the lean muscle mass that we want to keep. Does that answer your question, Chrissy? Okay, so here's another question. How much is enough protein if you just eat meats for your protein? So the same thing. I don't care what your protein source is, okay? We're going to go 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of lean body weight. So whether you're eating chicken or eggs or whatever, just look at the nutrition information, figure out how many grams of protein per ounce, and then from there you can figure out what you like to eat and what gets you to that point. But the main thing that you need to know here is that you want to do 0.8 to 1 grams per pound of lean body weight. So however you get that in is fine. It can be chicken, it can be eggs, it can be protein shake if you're on the go, protein bar, whatever, steak, whatever suits your fancy, okay? But that's the main thing that I want you to take away from that. Yeah, okay, so here's a question. Kim, what kind of protein is best? Can you recommend the best protein sources for vegan lifestyle? Okay, so that's tough, obviously, because we rule out lots of the protein sources right away if you're living the vegan lifestyle. But that's not to say it can't be done. There are lots of great vegan protein powders out there. About Time is my personal favorite because it's all natural, so it's not filled with a bunch of junk, and it's sweetened with stevia, and they actually have a vegan line. So check that out, and that would be a great place to start, Kim. Okay, so question from Katie. Is there any benefit to drinking more than half your body weight in ounces? That's kind of up for question. So just make half your body weight in ounces. Make that your goal, right? We don't need to go overboard. Like, I don't want you just floating away drinking 4 gallons of water a day. But listen to your body, right? If you're thirsty, drink, obviously, and make sure, even if you're not thirsty, that you're getting that minimum, and that really needs to be the goal. To drink anything over that is just kind of going to be extra, but this is what you need to focus on as far as the metabolism and functioning optimally. So does that answer your question, Katie? So we finished up water. That was tip number 2, okay? And tip number 3 is to build muscle. So I want you to find the chat box and give me a woohoo if you love muscle. Okay, now I'm not talking about like you want to be this big, giant, hulky, bulky woman, okay? But I'm talking about you love muscle because you know how amazing it is for your metabolism, and you know that when you have lean muscle on your body, you look tight and you look toned, okay? I really had to develop a love for muscle over time, because when I first started kind of in, as a young fitness professional, I didn't really understand how awesome muscle is and how amazing it is for fat burning and for my body. So I spent tons and tons of time doing cardio, but I didn't focus on the right type of training, which gave me the results I was looking for, and that is muscle building. Okay, so yeah, all our sisters are like, yay, woohoo, right? Ashley, yes, awesome. Christy, Katie, perfect, perfect, perfect. We love our muscle, okay? So here's Muscle 101. Muscle is the #1 influencing factor on our metabolism. Yes, okay, so Tina, Melissa, everyone is like, yes, 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 yes. We love muscle. Look at this picture. Muscle training, so our BeyondFit Life workouts, leads to increased muscle mass, which leads to an increased metabolism, which leads to burning more calories, okay? So, Ellen, we're like, woohoo for that, right? Anything that's going to boost our metabolism and burn more calories is something we're going to love. So, I have preached this over and over again, but muscle is the #1 influencing factor for your metabolism. And I love what Chrissy said. She said, I like the definition. Yes. Like, when you have some muscle, you don't look like a bodybuilder. You don't look weird or, freaky, unless maybe you're taking some steroids or something. But typically, women who lift weights don't look like that, okay? They look tight. They look toned. That's the look that we're going for. So no other single thing can burn more calories consistently over a long period of time. Muscle is active tissue. It is constantly burning calories and fat at all times of the day. So whether you're working out or you're reading or even if you're just sleeping, right? Muscle is always consuming and burning extra calories. So if you're looking for a great way to burn more calories, muscle is going to be your answer, okay? It's your best bet. It's just absolutely, it has to be a priority. So with that, I want to talk about our tip number 4, which is hybrid weight training. So building muscle, that's a tip right there. You just got to do it. You got to get that muscle work in. Now, the next logical question then is, well, how, right? What's the best way? How do I build muscle without looking bulky like, those women power lifters were like, whoa, you're looking bigger than my husband, right? So we want to do it in a feminine way. We want to be tight. We want to be toned. We want to be lean. We don't want to, scare our kids with our bulging biceps, right? So hybrid weight training is the way to go. This is the type of training that most people are actually really unaware of. And it amazes me that more people aren't doing this, because it works. It just, ladies, it works. So once women experience it, it's a workout that you kind of love to hate, but it's one of the best methods to boost your metabolism. So I love when we all check in the Facebook group after our workouts. And it's so fun to be like, okay, I got my workout done. I'm drinking my post-workout shake. And the workout was brutal, right? But we're all like smiling after it or liking that we hated the workout because it's hurt so good, right? You know you're making progress. It's hard. It's going to leave you gasping for air, right? It might even make you want to throw up sometimes. But nothing can transform your body faster and burn more calories in a short amount of time than these type of hybrid weight training workouts, okay? So hybrid weight training is when you are going to be most efficient at boosting your metabolism. You're going to burn more fat. You're going to build muscle. And basically what we're doing is we're working out in short bursts of intervals at high intensities, followed by short periods of rest. So it's a really, really great way, like I said, to burn fat and to build muscle. And it burns an insane, seriously insane number of calories. So you get to target multiple muscle groups all at the same time, which is awesome, especially for us, as busy women. They're short workouts, so we're not spending an hour and a half at the gym. It's 20 to 30 minutes, quick and efficient, right? You adjust the intensity and the rest as you need to, and then you get the benefits of having increased fat burning effects, which is just amazing, right? That's what we're all after. So harnessing the fat burning effect with this type of training, I did want to talk just a little bit about the science. Now, I know you guys know me, and you know that when it comes to science, I can kind of geek out. So I don't want to geek out on you. I don't want to lose you and have you be like bored to death with a science lecture. But my degree is in exercise physiology, so I have to throw a little bit of science into you tonight, okay? So we're going to talk about harnessing the afterburn effect with EPOC training. And EPOC training, basically what that stands for, it stands for excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. And I always ask women, especially when they come to my local boot camp and I can talk to them one-on-one, I say, do you want to burn calories after you finished exercising? And they're like, what? I can burn calories not just while I'm working out? I'm like, yeah, you can burn calories after you're done with our workout. There's no need to finish burning fat as soon as you finish your workout. And then, they look at me like, oh my gosh, like, tell me more. And I'm like, oh, it's so awesome because you can burn extra calories and fat for hours or even up to a day or two after your workout. And it's all possible through, and then they're like, oh gosh, you have to buy a shake, you have to do whatever. I'm like, no. It's all possible through this workout, through this scientific process called EPOC. It's so cool. So EPOC stands for excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. And I want to explain that to you. So Melissa said she gives me permission to get my geek on, okay? Katie said she's a fellow geek here. So we're going to talk about it, okay? We're going to be geeks and nerds about this science stuff for just a second because it really is cool, and I think you'll be interested in it. So what is the EPOC effect? EPOC is all about your post-exercise oxygen consumption. So when we work out, we use fuel. We use oxygen as fuel for our muscles, okay? So we're working out, and our muscles are working, and we're using fat as the fuel. There's a reason why you start breathing harder as you exercise. Now, this is just an example. The harder you exercise, the harder you breathe, right? So go over to the chat box and tell me if you got breathless during your BeyondFit Life workout number 1. I was breathless. I was breathing hard. I was like, okay, right? This oxygen deficit that you created during your workout, it needs to be replenished post-workout. So not only does this oxygen deficit, need to kind of reach homeostasis, to be balanced. But many other reactions occur to bring back your body to its pre-workout resting state. So I'm using the oxygen kind of as one example, but there's lots of stuff going on in your body that your body needs fuel for to bring it back to its pre-workout kind of resting state. Here's an example up on the screen. Bringing your heart rate back to its normal resting heart rate. Okay? So how high did you get your heart rate up during your workout? Did your heart feel like it was like beating out of its chest because it needs blood supply, right? It needs blood, it needs nutrients, and it needs to push energy to your muscles. So your heart rate is going to be beating faster. Your heart is going to be beating faster during your workout, during these hybrid exercises. And your heart rate doesn't just return to normal as soon as you're done, right? So it's not like, okay, I finished my workout, now my heart rate's right back to where it was when I was resting. No, it takes a little bit of time, sometimes even hours during that time to get your heart rate back down. And you know what's so cool? Your body's working to bring your heart rate down after your workout. And because it's working, it's burning calories. Here's another example. Reoxygenation of blood. Okay, so during exercise, we use oxygen to fuel many cellular processes. Once we're done exercising, we need to reoxygenate our blood. So we've been using oxygen to fuel our exercise, and now our body needs to replenish that oxygen. It needs to reoxygenate our blood. So once we're done exercising, what do you think happens? Well, this oxygen debt that we created, it needs extra oxygen and extra calories to reach homeostasis. Now, homeostasis is the geeky scientific word, okay, for balance. So it's your body's balance, that state of kind of just where everything's working as it should be. So this reoxygenation of the blood, it burns calories and it uses fat as its fuel. Okay, so how about this one? You replenish muscle glycogen. If you work out hard, muscle glycogen is going to be one of your primary sources of fuel during your workout, okay? And it takes energy and therefore calories to replenish those energy stores. Here's another example. I could just go on and on. I mean, I could geek out on you all night, but this will be my last one, okay? I promise. Cellular repair, okay? So you just broke down your muscle tissues during your workout. Now it's time to build them back up, right? You're lifting those heavy weights. You're making small micro tears in those muscle tissues. You're breaking them down during your workout. And then after your workout, you have to build them back up. So building muscle, which is scientifically called cellular repair, okay, it takes a massive amount of calories. And this is, ladies, this is the afterburn effect in its purest form. So all of these processes, they all need oxygen and they all need fuel to be performed. What kind of fuel? Fat. So I want you to find the chat box and I want you to say, like, woohoo for fat as fuel. Like, yes, let's use that fat as fuel. Let's burn that fat up, right? Yeah. Okay, so Melissa, this is funny. I love that you said that. So Lindsay said, yes, I love it when we were talking about getting breathless after our workout. And Melissa said, my kids always ask, are you okay? Like they need to call 911. I know, because we're working too hard, right? And then all of that energy that our body uses to bring us back to our normal resting state, that is burning calories, that's burning fat. We're using fat as our fuel for these processes that you see up on your screen. And it's awesome. It's really cool how this stuff works. So you know what the epoch effect is, okay? You know what it is. I gave you a brief overview. I hopefully didn't scare you with my nerd status too much, okay? But then the next logical question is, how do we create it? Okay, so a lot of research has been done on the duration of this excess post-exercise oxygen consumption, which is EPOC. and the methods by which you get the greatest effect out of it. And I'm just going to tell you, I just have looked at tons and tons and tons of studies for you. And here's what they say. Studies basically show a direct correlation between exercise intensity and the degree of EPOC. So not only was there a correlation, but it was just exponential, okay, in all of these studies that I looked at. In other words, working twice as hard doesn't give you twice the results. It gives you multiple times the results. So you really want to make sure that you're working hard, that your intensity level is high. I love what you said, Jan, in the chat over there. She said, let's have a bonfire. I love it. Okay, so that's going to be our September motto, is like a fat bonfire. We're burning our fat. We're just all throwing this fat in the fire, and we're going to have an awesome bonfire. We need to think of a snack that's not s'mores, though, huh? Yeah. So you want to be working hard. You want that intensity to be there. Effective EPOC training means that you will be busting your butt. I'm serious. You'll be out of breath, okay? Those low-intensity exercises, I used to spend hours. Oh, my gosh. I can't believe I wasted so much time. I would spend hours on the elliptical. In college, I would bring my books to study, or I'd find a stupid magazine to read, or I'd watch Dr. Phil or something just dumb on TV, and I'd pedal on the elliptical for over an hour every single day, just pedaling along, just reading my book, right? If you can read and talk and carry on a conversation, I usually have my girlfriends with me, right? So we'd be in a line on the ellipticals, and we'd all be talking about our day. You can't see me right now, but I'm showing you what it looked like, and it's ridiculous. So I'm just kind of bouncing up and down and talking and flipping the magazine pages, and no, that's not going to cut it. If you want that afterburn effect, you're going to have to work for it, okay? The extra effort, it will be worth it, though. Yeah. You will continue metabolizing fatty acids for hours or even days after your workout. And on top of the extra fat that's burned from the EPOC effect, you're also going to have built that additional muscle. So that means, again, that you're going to be burning even more calories while you eat, okay? So muscle eats fat. It eats it for breakfast, it eats it for lunch, it eats it for dinner, every moment in between. Muscle is a fat grazer. And Melissa said, hashtag fat bonfire. Yeah, I love it. Fat bonfire, that's what it's going to be. And Alexa's on the call, and this is just, yeah. She said she remembers seeing me on the elliptical doing that, right? Yeah. And you were probably there. That's what all girls do before we know better, right? I'm sure a lot of people on the call can remember just running on the treadmill or doing the elliptical or doing, your kind of dance aerobic classes. Until you know better, that tends to be the kind of exercise that women lean towards. But it doesn't work. It's not efficient. So you got to keep your workout intensity high. You have to create an oxygen debt that results in this excess post-exercise oxygen consumption, EPOC. And it will be rewarded with extra fat loss for hours and days after your workout. I promise, okay? So, again, this afterburn effect, just so we're all clear on the science. Jan, yes, you can burn your Spanx, side note. It occurs when your body tries to replenish the oxygen deficit that was created during your workout. So if you work out with high enough intensity, right, it causes your body to have to work to maintain homeostasis, and that is going to burn more fat. That's going to be our fat bonfire. Okay? Body functions like bringing your heart rate back to normal, like reoxygenating your blood, like replenishing muscle glycogen, everything I have up on the screen for you, cellular repair, they all require calories to perform. And this afterburn effect can last hours, even days, okay, making it another way to boost your metabolism. Are we all clear on that? Okay, is the science stuff okay with you? Does that make sense? I wasn't too boring for you. Okay, we're going to wrap up. I have a little bit more science. I hope you don't mind. But this is really important, and this is something a lot of women miss. Tip number 5 is improve your thyroid function. Okay, so let me tell you really quickly a little bit about your thyroid. Thyroid hormone is comprised of 2 major parts, T4 and T3. Now, your thyroid is responsible for fat, carbohydrate, and protein metabolism. So, wouldn't it stand to reason, then, that increasing your thyroid function would boost your metabolism? That makes sense, right? If your thyroid is responsible for fat, carbohydrate, and protein metabolism, then it makes sense that increasing your thyroid function is going to boost your metabolism. Now, the question is, how do you do that, okay? Can you optimize thyroid function by manipulating your diet and exercise? Yes, okay? The answer is yes. So, eating the right amount of calories and specific nutrients so that your body can synthesize thyroid hormone is a great first step. Thyroid function can also be influenced by exercise, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute, with the intensity of your workout being directly correlated with thyroid output. So I want to talk about some ways to naturally increase thyroid levels. Thyroid hormone is one of the body's most important hormones when it comes to weight loss. Among other important functions, it converts the food that you eat into heat and to energy. So learning how to naturally increase your thyroid levels can actually really help you jumpstart your fat loss program to kind of break through those plateaus that we were talking about at the beginning of the night, okay? So you can see up on your screen, thyroid hormone is comprised of 2 major parts. We have the T4 and the T3. So T4 is the most abundant form of thyroid hormone in the body. It actually makes up almost like 80% of the thyroid hormone that's released. T4 is converted in the brain, the thyroid, the bloodstream, and in other body tissues. It's converted there to the more active form of thyroid hormone, which is T3. Okay, so T3 is the real thyroid hormone that we are looking to increase. People with thyroid disorders usually have one of 2 problems. They either don't produce enough T4 or they lack the efficiency of converting T4 into the more effective form of T3. So T4 converts into T3. So whether, if you have been prescribed thyroid medication before, whether you're prescribed T4 or T3 generally depends on which of these 2 problems you have, okay? So typically people have one of 2 of those problems. T3 directly boosts your metabolism in those little cell powerhouses that we call in the geeky science world, okay? So all my geeks, raise their hands. The mitochondria. So T3 directly boosts your metabolism in the mitochondria. And it regulates fat, protein, and carbohydrate metabolism, like I said. So the mitochondria are where fatty acids go to be metabolized. And that's why I brought that up tonight. That's why we're talking about this, okay? So, Melissa, great question. We're going to talk right now, actually, about some natural ways that we can address this. So I'm glad that you brought that up. We want to increase the T3 levels naturally. So that's going to be the answer to your question, Melissa, and a goal for all of us on the call. How do you do that? You can treat, but you cannot cure hypothyroidism through medication, okay? There is a way to treat T3 levels naturally as well as, taking the medication. Personally, I'm all about trying to do it naturally if you can, if it's possible. And the number one way to make sure that you increase thyroid levels is to make sure that you're eating a nutritious diet. And actually taking that one step further by making sure that you're getting enough calories, okay? So when we start dieting, this is what happens to so many women. Many, many, many women cut their calories immediately, okay? But the problem is they usually lower them too much. So I want you to head over to that chat box and type guilty. If you've ever been at any time in your life been guilty of just cutting your calories like crazy. You just like, I need to get this weight off, so I'm just going to hardly eat any calories, right? I used to do that, and it's not good. It's really not good, okay? The large decrease in calories, it triggers some of your body's strongest evolutionary functions, seriously. And when your body doesn't think it's getting enough food, like we talked about earlier, it actually lowers its metabolism in order to more efficiently use the energy or the food that it's receiving. So if you just slash your calories, your body thinks it's not getting enough food, and over time it's going to lower your metabolism to use what it is getting more efficiently. That's when you hit the plateau. That's when you hit, that sticking point where you're like, I can't get this off anymore, and I'm barely eating anything, right? That was my before picture. So one of the easiest ways your body can lower its metabolism is by reducing the amount of thyroid hormone that it produces. And since thyroid hormone is responsible for fat, carbohydrate, and protein metabolism, right, it stands to reason that lowering this hormone would slow down the metabolism of these macronutrients. That makes sense, doesn't it? So once your thyroid production starts going downhill, you're going to be fighting an uphill battle to lose weight, to burn fat. And I know we've all been in that battle, right? Where it's an uphill battle. You cannot do anything that gets your fat or your weight loss to budge. And that is generally a problem when your thyroid production starts going downhill. And the thyroid production starts going downhill when you do these crazy, drastic, low-calorie diets. So in addition to not getting enough calories, to making sure that you get enough calories, you need to make sure the calories that you're eating are nutrient dense. So thyroid function is impaired if you aren't feeding your body what it needs to produce the thyroid hormone. So if you're taking notes, you can write down iodine, zinc, selenium, and other minerals are required to produce thyroid function, okay? So when we're talking about the thyroid hormone, production of this hormone, you need to make sure you're getting enough iodine, zinc, selenium, and other minerals. And you need to make sure that you're eating enough food, okay? So if you're having trouble getting those things from food, you could try a vitamin or a mineral supplement. That would be beneficial. But I do want you to try to make sure that you're getting your nutrients from solid food. So food that contains other elements to help assimilate these nutrients, that's going to be best, and that comes from solid whole food. Now, you'll see on the screen, more than 65% of women following traditional weight loss methods were fatter 2 years later than before the diet started. Why? Thyroid. Thyroid, thyroid, thyroid. They do these weight loss diets, so they're dieting and they're not eating enough, and their thyroid production, it just goes downhill, and then they can't lose weight, then they start eating a normal amount, and it packs on all this extra fat, and they end up fatter than they were before the diet started. Do not let this happen to you, okay? Do not let this happen to you. Focus on getting these hormones balanced, and specifically, like we're talking about tonight, with the metabolism, we want to make sure that we're working on that thyroid hormone. So you can see on the screen, We talked about the thyroid. It produces T4 that converts to T3. T3 boosts your metabolism. How do we increase our T3 levels naturally? First, we eat enough. We eat enough calories. We also make sure we're getting nutrient-dense foods. And then we're also going to talk about exercise. Now, it's 8 o'clock, and I know I try to keep these to an hour, but I got geeky on you, and we're going to run a little bit late. So I have Patrick home, and he's going to put Jackson to bed for me so I can finish talking about this exercise portion. So I hope you'll stick with me for another minute, and then we'll wrap up. But exercise is important, and I do want to mention this, that studies have shown that the heart rate you exercise at is directly related to the amount of thyroid hormone in your bloodstream. So high-intensity exercise and resistance training should be staples in your fitness program. It has to be there. High-intensity exercise and this resistance training. These are our hybrid workouts, okay? So go into the members portal, download our workouts, make sure you're following those. That's going to get you the results that you're looking for. Like we talked about, a great way to boost your exercise intensity, to increase fat loss, and to naturally increase your thyroid levels is going to be to use these hybrid weight training workouts. It's going to get your heart rate up. That will release the TSH, and when TSH is high, it signals the release of thyroid hormones. So you can see that chart on your screen. So whether you believe you have low thyroid output or you're just trying to prevent yourself from having one or having an issue, proper diet and exercise really can help you increase your thyroid levels. So we'll end on this note, okay? Medication will treat symptoms, and it should be used when necessary, but there are usually many improvements that you can make to your fitness program so that you really are optimizing your natural hormones and treating your body like the machine that it is, okay? You guys know, you know this. We do not want to end up fatter 2 years later than before we started, right? We want this to be a lifestyle. The consequences of traditional training and diets: you're working hard, you're wasting time, and you're still not seeing results. You're tired, you're frustrated, right? It doesn't have to be that way. You do not have to live off of chicken and broccoli or spend hours at the gym to get results. So that is what we're here to preach, right? It's all about working smarter and not working harder. So Alexa can verify. She knows what I did in college on the elliptical, hours and hours and hours. I was in terrible shape. Well, I was skinny, right? But I wasn't tight. I wasn't toned. I didn't have the look I was going for. I showed you my before and after pictures. As soon as I got this stuff down, boom, fat loss out. It was crazy how quickly it can happen when you have the right training, you have the right nutrition, everything is balanced, and your hormones are on track as well. So healthy, happy, balanced, right? That is what the BeyondFit Life is all about. I love you, girls. I'm so glad that you're on the call tonight. It's so great to chat. I know there were a couple questions that we didn't get to, but go ahead and post your questions in our private Facebook group. So go into that BeyondFit Life Facebook group and you can post your questions there, and I will make sure that we answer anything that we missed. I love our chats. It's so much fun to get to spend time with you. Don't forget to log into the members portal to print your September workouts. All your recipes are there, your nutrition guide, and I have some cool bonuses for you as well. So check those out in the members portal. If you have questions, log into that private Facebook group and we'll answer them there. Thank you for being part of BeyondFit Life. We love to have you. There were a couple of girls who were on the call that aren't BeyondFit Life members. You're listening in because you have a girlfriend that invited you, and we are so happy that you are listening in with us too. The more the merrier, right? We're preaching living a healthy, happy, balanced life, and that's what we're about. So we don't want you to feel like you're going in a million directions. We want your fitness to be healthy. We want it to be happy and to be balanced, to feel like you finally have some of the answers that you're looking for. So if you need help, talk to the woman that invited you to the call. The thing is that successful women, they know what to spend their time on. And our BeyondFit Life sisters, they are amazing. They know what works. They see results. They know how to live this lifestyle. And like I said, the results speak for themselves. So I love you guys. I hope you have a great night. Again, post those questions in the Facebook group, and we will talk to you soon. All right.